Coach Brent Bailey is the next or first head football coach at Wilson's Mills High School. Coach, congratulations on the new position, and
Thank you.
we want to hear about your plans for this school. I guess first though, what interests you about starting a brand new program at a brand new high school? There's gonna be a lot of challenges that come along with that.
Oh yeah, I think having gone to Cedar Ridge, I was there for the past 3 years, and I was living in Clayton and driving there every day. And that program had been down for a while. Numbers weren't very good, and so when I went there, success what didn't happen right away as terms of wins and losses, but the kids we had there were amazing. And even though we were struggling, we continued to add kids during my tenure. So we started out with 22 kids my first year, and then by this past season, in our third year, we were over 50 kids in the program. That was the largest numbers in the program they have had in probably about 10 to 12 years. And so we were very excited about that. The kids really bought in. And so the idea of starting something brand new, I know, you know, it'll present its own challenges, but just having gone there for 3 years and, really revamping that program. And I hope that they continue on to grow and continue to work hard there. And the next head coach takes it to the next level. So I like the idea of a challenge. I think it's a lot of fun to watch something manifest and build as you grow with the program. And so building something from scratch just really excited me.
You've spent a lot of time in Johnston County,
Yeah.
not far from Wilson's Mills. What do you know about the community and the investment that you expect to get from that community to make a brand new football program successful?
Having grown up, I went to Clayton High School, but I lived in Archer's Lodge, in that area back when I graduated in 2007. And so I know the community loves football. I know they'll be excited for the new program. I know the alumni from way back when Wilson's Mills had a high school. I know they meet every year, once a year to get together and talk about things and the past. And so I know they're already really excited. And so I think, it'll present its own challenges, but I think, we have such a great community, very sports oriented community, especially football. So I think we'll get good backing from day one. And so that excites me for sure.
Does it kind of feel like a homecoming of sorts for you going to Wilson's Mills?
Yeah, yeah. Having grown up in the area, actually started playing sports. Of course, they didn't have youth football, so I played Clayton Civitan. But I actually did play basketball and baseball in Wilson's Mills Parks and Rec when I was like 4 and 5 years old. So it's pretty full circle in that regard. But yeah, I think it's definitely feels good to come back home, especially because I've been driving to Hillsboro for the past 3 years, and that's on a good day, an hour and a half trip one way. So it is nice to be back in Johnston County.
Yeah, that is not a quick trip for anybody who is unfamiliar. You've spent some time as an assistant coach and offensive coordinator as well at Clayton at Bunn High School. What do those experiences give you as you prepare for your second head coaching job now at Wilson's Mills?
Well, I had a ton of great mentors over the years. Coach Jenks was a great mentor to me. That was the first head coach I ever worked under. He's been a wonderful friend, first and foremost. He's a great guy. But as far as the football X's and O's and trying to figure out, what I wanted to do from early on when we first started, and I always told him I wanted to be a head coach. And so he helped me out a lot, and we had a wonderful staff, especially in 2017 with Coach Amolka. That was the year, I'm sure you remember, we had went undefeated that year. Devin Carter and all those cats were there. And so a lot of skill there, but it was just a great staff. And so I think, having learned underneath these guys, I actually had a great assistant coach at Cedar Ridge that I hired, Coach Johnson. He's been a head coach a time or two, and he really helped me while I was there. He's my associate head coach, and he was just a super wonderful guy on and off the field. And so he helped me in a lot of areas during my first head coaching stint at Cedar Ridge. And so he was tremendous as well.
For people who may be watching this, who may be parents of players who will be at Wilson's Mills, or maybe even the players themselves who will be at Wilson's Mills, What should they know about your coaching philosophy and what you expect from them?
My coaching philosophy is very, very simple in regards to what I expect out of the program. Obviously, we're going to be student athlete driven. Anytime I interview a coach, that's always the first question I ask: Why do you coach? And I need the answer to always be somewhere around. I love the kids. I want to help kids. I want to help mold young men. And so that's the first thing. It's all about the kids. From the kids that want to play college football to the kids who just want to play in high school. It's all about everybody, and it requires everybody. But as far as on the field, I'm very much dedication is the bridge to success guy. And that's a phrase we use all the time. To be dedicated, you have to be dedicated in the classroom. You have to be dedicated in your community. You have to be dedicated on the football field. And really, if you just use the term dedicated, I think it covers all your bases. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to be dedicated in all things that we do. And so I think once you get kids to buy into that culture of dedication and constantly picking up your lunch pail every day, I think you'll find yourself in a good spot in 2 to 3 years.
What are the first things that you have to do as the first head football coach to really get this program started?
Well, obviously, you need to get in front of the parents of, with this being a totally different, something totally different that I've never really experienced from that standpoint of it's a brand new school. So I think you need to get in front of the parents first. You need to be able to have conversations with them, and I think that's really good to get out into the community. Past that, I think you have to have a top-notch and quality staff that's in the building. I'm a big in the building guy. It doesn't mean I don't like volunteers. I think volunteers are great, but community leaders are great. So having those guys is very important. But I think the guys that see the kids every day inside the classrooms and inside the school building are extremely important. And so that outside of meeting parents is getting to business and hiring a top-notch staff. It would be priority number one, probably.
Is it you spoke about Cedar Ridge and they've it's been well documented. They've had struggles over
Yeah.
the years with participation numbers.
Mhm.
Um, is it kind of exciting to come into this situation now and be able to really shape everything from the beginning? Like you're
Well,
not having to change anything. You're getting to create it.
yeah, I think it's really, while it's different, honestly the same because before I got to Cedar Ridge, the culture wasn't there at all. They had a lot of issues outside of just on the football field. And so because there's always everyone just sees the scoreboard for all those past years and participation numbers, but there's a reason for that. And so going there was really building something from the ground up. Is just I think the key word is morale is different. The morale now is it's a brand new school, and so there's going to be a lot of people excited about there being a brand new school. Whereas at Cedar Ridge, they were like, they had went on this streak of a head coach would stay there, 1 year and then leave, and so it's hard to build anything when you only stay 1 year, and the kids are, constantly seeing a new face every year, a brand new staff, and so, yeah, it's different. But I think building something is, like Cedar Ridge, where you're still creating something from the ground up. I think that's where my skill set comes in because I've kind of experienced it. It's just the morale is different.
Right. Yeah. It's that'll be a different approach for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Um, when season one starts, obviously you're not going to have like seniors in the building or anything. That brings a challenge for every new school,
Oh yeah.
especially in football. Especially in football. How do you measure success in year one?
I think you measure success is where we started. Is it better where we started versus where we end? And so like I think you have to look at, all right, when we started, we couldn't do X, Y, and Z correctly, but by the end of it, by the end of the season, man, we had a lot of growth. I think you get a lot of players playing time. It's a JV season, and so that's what JV is for. You have to figure out, all right, what can this player do in this position, and if they aren't successful there, then how can we find a way to make that player successful somewhere else? And so I think you know you measure success by how much growth you have. The weight room is a big thing. So getting those kids into the weight room, is going to be huge, starting in the summer all the way through. So I think, you just measure success by how much we've grown both physically and mentally as a football program. Of course, we always want to win. So that's an easy answer. Everybody wants to win.
Yeah, that goes without saying, right?
Yeah.
uh, one last question for you. When you look past year one, you look 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Where do you want to see Wilson's Mills football as a program?
I think we want to be a well respected program. I think, when you really think about it, in 3 years, there's going to be a group of seniors that have been playing together, for 3 years. And you're hoping you're going to have a huge senior class in that. And so I think that should excite everybody that in 3 years, man, those seniors they're going to be well versed because they got a ton of playing time at an early age. And so, it's very exciting in that regard. And I want to be a well-respected program. I want it to be a place where people don't want to come to play. I want it to be we want to be a physical team. And so I don't want it to be like a cherry pick. Oh, we can pencil this in as a W. We want to be physical and we want to be feared and we want to be one of the top programs in Johnston County.
All right, Wilson's Mills first football coach, Brent Bailey. We appreciate the time. Good luck this offseason getting everything going.
Yes, sir. Thank you.